And hello, welcome to the first bit of AQA A-level biology. This is biological molecules. And yeah, if I do fall asleep halfway through this, it is 12 o'clock at night and I am recording this, so please apologies. Yeah, so let's begin. Where's it gone? Oh my days. Okay. So this is specification. This is the very first bit. You should use the specification as your Bible throughout the journey of your A-level journey. Yeah, and you should always refer to it. Always refer to these definitions. Always refer to like the smallest bullet points, because this is what the examiners are going to test you on, and they can't test you on anything else apart from what's written in the Bible or the specification. So let's look at the very first bit. So the variety of life, both past and present. So it's talking about the organisms in the past, so yesterday and today. They're both very different. So we had flowers, animals, birds, pterodactyls, T-Rexes, yeah, all of that stuff. They're different to the ones we have today. But the thing is that these are all similar in terms of biochemistry. So the stuff that they're made up from, they're all similar amongst each other. So we humans have similar biochemical bases to possibly other organisms. So yeah, so we are also made from an element called carbon. So we contain compounds which have carbon in them, and remember, all organic compounds have carbon in them. So every time you see the word organic compounds, think carbon. Every time you hear the word carbon, think organic compounds. Now, examples of organic compounds or stuff that contains carbon are DNA, glucose, and amino acids. Now, every living organism needs water. Like, we humans are made up of 70% of water. And it's in NASA's research, obviously, to look for water on Mars. And the reason being is because if they find water, they know they will find some sort of living life on Mars, because water is the main constituent of nearly every living organism. This also acts as evidence for evolution, and that we have descended from one or a few of our ancestors, and we share the same biochemistry. So we all have similar carbon-based compounds, use the same DNA and amino acids, and all of this acts as indirect evidence. If you don't understand this now, you can come back to it later once you've gained a little bit more knowledge, but it should make sense then. If it doesn't, comment down below and I'll give a more detailed answer. So let's look at monomers. So monomers are the smaller units from which larger molecules are made. Polymers are molecules made from a larger number of monomers joined together. Now, monomers, I like to use this analogy here of Lego bricks. So one monomer, let's say call it a Lego brick. Join these Lego bricks together and we get a polymer. So every time you see the word monomer, think of one Lego brick. And every time you see the word polymer, think many Lego bricks joined together. So something like this, which is essentially drawn here. So monomers are the smaller units. So this is a smaller unit from which larger molecules are made. So this large molecule we have right here is made up of 5 different monomers, all small units. One thing that they usually add on in mark schemes as well is that that polymers are made up of repeating units. And basically it's saying that you have the same monomers attached to each other. So you can't have something like an A1 A, B. It's got to be all letters, so A, B, C, or either all numbers, if that makes sense. Hopefully that does make sense, because it sounds a bit of waffle. But anyways, hopefully that does make sense. If it doesn't, comment down below. Also, another thing, memorize these definitions word for word. In the exam, they will test you literally what's on the specification. So if you've got these two definitions down, you can't go wrong whatsoever. Now, let's look at another two key main things, which you will be mentioning a lot in biology. Condensation and hydrolysis. Now, a condensation reaction joins two molecules together with the formation of a chemical bond and involves the elimination of a molecule of water. So, a condensation reaction joins two molecules together. So we've got this plus this makes this plus water. X, Y, X, Y. Okay, so we've got this molecule here, we're going to add it onto this Y molecule here, and then we get this here with a chemical bond formed and the release of water. So how does that happen? Basically, at times we have organic compounds which have a hydroxyl group. Hydroxyl group is basically OH. So an oxygen and a hydrogen attached together. And then we also have another hydroxyl group here attached to this organic compound. And what happens is, by magic, somehow this detaches off. So we've got, oops, no. Okay, sorry about that. So basically, by magic, this happens. So we get, this happens. So we get two hydrogens and one oxygen, which forms obviously water. So H2 and then the O. And then as a result, we've got this oxygen left, and that forms a bond with other molecule, like shown here. So condensation is basically polymers, which are made from monomers, where a chemical, that's not it. So yes, what I was saying is that polymers are formed by condensation reactions. So like I said before, that polymers are just repeating units, just made up of smaller units, like I showed with the Lego brick analogy. So here we've got a polymer. This polymer was made by a condensation reaction where we had two molecules or two or more molecules joined together and releasing a water molecule and resulting in a chemical bond. So polymers are made from monomers, where a chemical bond is made between the two monomers, releasing a molecule of water. Now let's look at another key concept. So the opposite of condensation is hydrolysis. So if you break up the term, you can probably guess. Hydro means water, and lysis means break or break down. Now polymers are broken down into monomers by adding a water molecule. So according to this definition here in the specification, a hydrolysis reaction breaks a chemical bond between two molecules and involves the use of a water molecule. So literally the opposite of condensation. And in fact, we can show this in this equation right here. Going this way, it's condensation. So we're going to add two molecules together to form a chemical bond. Don't forget the key word is chemical bond. And then a water molecule. And if we're going the other way, it's hydrolysis. So we're going to break a chemical bond using a water molecule to form two new molecules. Hopefully these two concepts make sense. If it doesn't, comment down below. So a monomer is the smallest unit of a polymer, and all are repeating units, so they all have to be the same, and it's joined by condensation reactions from which larger molecules are made. So a polymer is obviously made via lots of condensation reactions. So the main bit is, if we go back to the definition, monomers are the smaller units from which larger molecules are made. And then the polymer definition is, polymers are molecules made from large number of monomers joined together. So, another warning is, if you've probably done this in your class already, lipids are not polymers. So we're going to look at examples later on of types of monomers and types of polymers. But just a warning, lipids are not polymers, and I'll explain this later on. Ignore it if it doesn't make sense to you. So for our next lesson, we're going to have a look at carbohydrates. So hopefully this was helpful. If not, comment down